Hello, you wonderful people out there. We are back from traveling to West Africa and Central Africa, but I didn't go. You had a helper.
Yes.
And the helper was my maternal, superhero.
Yes.
My mother, yes.
Super grandma.
Super grandma was here.
Yeah, well, Matt
I was away.
Yeah, Matt had to go on a business trip, and so he was gone for 2 weeks.
What type of business would that be? Oh, it'd be helping your father drive across the country. Yes.
Yes. So while he was doing that, Grandma came to stay with the girls and I, and we were starting out with West Africa, and we just kind of thought, rather than change, let's just kind of go with, we kind of already did North Africa, and we did a lot of the desert biome there, so we thought, okay, well, let's do West Africa and focus on rainforests. And so then we just kind of went into Central Africa. That way we could do rainforest as a 2-week biome study, which was really fun. So it was kind of this big Africa study, and you were not here for it.
I was slacking or something.
Yeah, he was gone. So it was actually a really great opportunity for your mom to see this around the world journey. I mean, she's been involved a little bit with the food in the past.
Well, and sometimes we bring stuff over to the house when we go over for the weekends and stuff.
Yeah.
But most of the time it's done here, and she doesn't really have that much experience in it. And maybe she's seen the math and the reading a little bit, but this is the first time she really liked it. She thought it was really cool.
She thought it was really great. We leaned into the books this week, so things are maybe a little bit different than we normally would have done them. There's not quite as much art and things, but
Trekking the Globe, grandmother approved.
Yeah, we had to kind of
stamp of approval.
Had to kind of make things work. So we started out.
You got to always start with Africa is not a country.
It's the best place to start, really, other than, of course, using your atlas, which is what we did. We got the atlas out in the globe with our leapfrog adventure globe is just perfect, especially when there's like a region, because then our daughter has lots of countries to click on, and for the adventure globe to show her pictures. But Africa is not a country. If you didn't hear us reference this in the past, it's a book basically where each page focuses on a part of the day in a different country. So it gives a great just kind of an overview of all the different countries that make up these different regions. So we just read the pages that were applicable to the countries in those regions. Okay. So the first week we did West Africa, and the second we did parts of Central Africa. So we just kind of bookmarked those and read those pieces and gave the girls an idea where to start.
Great book to kind of show the diversity within Africa, all the different places you can be and do, and all the different biomes. And we'll talk a little bit about that later. But the diversity of biomes is just breathtaking.
Right, and some of it is very rural, and others are cities, and you're right, totally different climates and things. So it's a great starting point. Absolutely. Definitely get this one, at least from your library.
One Hen.
This is part of the Citizen Kid series, and there's a lot of Citizen Kid books, and I think they're really terrific. They're all about how a child changed some part of the world, some part of their local community. And in fact, this book was your mom's favorite. I remember reading it from the first time.
She wouldn't stop talking about this. She said she loved this one. Yeah.
She did. I think she may have had to read it twice to our youngest because it was really good. It's basically the story of a boy who gets a small, I think the community maybe got a micro loan. And anyway, the thing he requested was to just get one hen. And he got a hen so that they could start having eggs for his family, but they had enough that they were able to start selling eggs. Then he was able to get a few more hens. And it's this story of how he changes his whole life. And eventually, as an adult, he's like one of the largest egg manufacturers in his region. And he's revitalized his entire town. And it all started from one hen. So I think what's really cool about these stories is it can really connect with our kids and show them that they can make a big impact from something that seems really small.
That's really cool.
So yeah, Citizen Kid. So moving on to our next Citizen Kid.
Citizen Kid, the Red Bicycle.
This one I really, really like. I think this one's my favorite. It's a story about a kid, I think in the United States, who donates a red bicycle. When he grows out of this bike, he donates it, and it's taken by container ship over to Africa. And then it basically has all these different lives. The red bicycle does. It becomes an ambulance at one point for a traveling nurse to go on and deliver medicines and life-saving medicines to patients, and it goes through all these different incarnations, and how one gift, one act of kindness spread in all the different ways that it went through. So I really like this one. I didn't get to read it this time. I remember reading it last time, but your mom also really enjoyed this one. And I think these Citizen Kid books, if you can get any of them, if you can kind of see on the back, there's a whole bunch of them. But if you look up Citizen Kid, you can find these, and they're all good stories. And there's quite a few of them that take place in Africa. So
that's cool.
Yeah, they're really good.
Nelson Mandela's favorite African folktales.
So this is the spine that Build Your Library uses for all their weeks in Africa. So we just kind of bookmarked, I bookmarked the folktales that were specifically for the countries and the regions we were studying. What I like about the folktales in this book is they're pretty short. You know, you're talking about like maybe 3 pages, 4 pages. They're pretty short, so I think our kindergartners, it definitely kept our daughter's attention span. There's a couple of bright drawings in it.
And just a lot of fun artwork, it looks like, as well.
Yeah, what's kind of nice when we hop around like this and we're not doing, you know, each region all at one time, like, oh, the whole continent of Africa, is that we can just, you know, bookmark a few of these, enjoy the folktales for what they are, and then the next week we're hopping to somewhere else and we can come back. And I think this book will get more longevity this way that we're doing it rather than the way we did it with our daughter the last time, which was continent by continent, because I think by the end of it she was like, I've heard a lot of African folktales. Which is fair. It's fair for a 6-year-old or something. So anyway, this is a really good book, though. If you like folktales, we're not a huge folktale family, but we really like this book. I think that the stories are well told. They're short. They're told in an accessible way to kids. So I think it's
nice,
really good.
Heavy-duty book, too, as well.
Yeah, it is.
It feels weighty.
Yeah, it's a good one to get.
Anansi the Spider, Trickster Tale.
Yeah, you have to get one of the Trickster Tales. Now, there's a bunch of different books about Anansi. There's Anansi and the Melon. There's like a whole bunch of them. I think they're all pretty good. This is Nigeria or Western Africa.
Ghana, Nigeria
okay.
area, yeah.
So this is the kind of original one. But there's a lot of these stories, and they're all trickster tales.
Yeah.
We have a bunch of them in our resource guide. So this is the one we picked this week, but any of them they're all pretty darn good. But you can see other ones if you want to pick up our resource guides. You can see other options.
Why Mosquitoes Buzz in People's Ears.
Yeah, this is a classic.
Yes.
I mean, gosh, it's what is that? That's the Caldecott medal. Yeah, so this has been around a long time. Again, more of a folk tale. Our kids always enjoy this one. It is a little bit on the longer side, so you may have to read this in 2 sittings with your younger child. We did with our daughter, but it's a classic. It'll be really easy to find. We were able to pick one up used for just a few bucks, so definitely recommend grabbing it, or at least grabbing it from your library.
A hardback book, Baby Goes to Market.
Yeah, so it's funny, you know, our kindergartner, she's getting more stamina to read, but I thought, you know what? Let's just get like a board book that's really easy too, because sometimes it's nice to just have something that's totally within her wheelhouse.
But also if you have an emerging reader, these books can be great, especially if you have a little bit older reader like we have. She can sit down and read this.
And she can read it to her younger sister, which is really fun. I want to say that we read this book like 4 times over the 2 weeks because your mom really liked it and our kids really liked it. It's basically the story of a baby who's on his mommy's back as she's going through the market, and vendors keep giving the baby gifts, like here's a banana, here's the this, here's the that, and eventually at the end, when she's wearing this big basket on her head where she's collecting things she's buying at the market. She takes it down eventually, and she's like, "You got all this stuff, and where did everybody get this stuff?" It's because they all gave it to the baby.
That's cute.
Our youngest daughter just thought this was just amazing. She thought it was great. So yeah, fun and really easy. Like you say, you can get an older kiddo to maybe read this to a younger.
We'll talk about a couple of chapter books now. We'll talk about the first one, Mercy Watson to the Rescue. I actually ended up, because I came back right at the tail end of it, you guys hadn't gotten to this, and I just grabbed it and read it over the course of a day or so.
Yeah, I think your mom read like 1 chapter of it, and she was like, "What is that book? It's hilarious." I'm like, yeah, it's Mercy Watson. So Mercy Watson is a great book series that we read the first time around when we did.
It's a pig who enjoys toast
with a great deal of butter
on it.
Who doesn't enjoy toast with a great deal of butter? I mean, really. So this is something that we just read to our daughter our first time around in kindergarten. Obviously, it has nothing to do with Africa. It's set in the U.S., but it's got great artwork. It's really funny. If you're just looking for a really good book for kindergarten age, there's a series of 6 of these books, so we wanted to show it to you because they're all fun, and our kids love them. We own the whole set, and we're so happy we do.
It's part of the Kate DiCamillo must-have in your library.
Yeah.
I mean, with Despero, and there's a bunch of other books she's written as well.
Yeah, these are classics. So
she's a great author, real fun.
Yeah, so if you want to just, occasionally we don't have a great chapter book that would go with this for our kinder student, and pick up something else, but this is a great kindergarten recommendation.
Magic Treehouse, book 26. Make sure you get on the right. So, A Good Morning Gorilla. So you were studying the rainforest.
We went with the rainforest.
And so we said, hey, older child, time for you to read your book for the week.
Yep. So our younger child likes to listen to the Magic Treehouse books, so we get those on audio and put those on her Yodo or on the Libby app. But our older daughter is now at this point to be able to read the Magic Treehouse books to herself.
She can do about a chapter in about 15 minutes or so, and a chapter is about 4 or 5 pages.
So we'll have her do a chapter and a half or so a day.
Yeah.
And she's not at the stage yet where she feels comfortable reading it to her younger sister, but this would also make a great read aloud to a younger sibling. Our daughter our younger happened to just listen to it, but this would be also a good option. They're not really amazing read alouds. In general, they're meant to be early readers, but...
Jack said, Annie said, Jack said, Annie said.
Yeah. But sometimes, if you do voices for Jack and Annie, then you can get away with you don't have to read Jack said, Annie said. If you just come up with some nice, unique voices, then you can skip that part. Just a pro tip. But our kids both love Magic Treehouse.
But this has been part of our effort to take this curriculum and kind of elevate it and extend it to our older student, and bringing in her books for her to read to herself has been that kind of that wrinkle we've been doing. We've been lucky to find a lot of books for every single week. We haven't found even just from our own library, we've been able to find stuff. So it's been really cool to have this option for her.
Yeah, it's been good. So Magic Treehouse is always something they enjoy.
Our oldest also read this.
Yeah.
National Geographic Swim, Grow, Hop. Sight word book.
Yeah, so we have a little sight word set, and so she read this. So the only reason we wanted to show this to you is that if you do have a child who is reading, or even the child you're doing this around the world study with is starting to read, look for National Geographic early reader or sight word type books that you might find at your library, because you might find some that are applicable to your biomes. Because they'll be about animals and things. So just a note to look into that. It's not like, I think it's important to show these because it's not like you can go to the library and search rainforest and this is going to come up, because it's not. But National Geographic Kids has lots of good early reader books, and you might find definitely the animals of whatever biome.
And if you go thrifting and stuff like that, those books are just littering a lot of those type of bookshelves and whatnot. You'll find a ton of those. Pop-up book, Wild Animal Sound.
Yeah, so our kids really love pop-up books. I mean, I think is that universal? All kids love pop-up books.
I mean,
I still love pop-up books. So, so anyway, you turn the pages and it makes the different animal sounds. I think it's off right now, so it's not going to make those sounds. But we went ahead and went to, here's a section on Africa.
Central Africa.
So you could see.
Awesome.
And then here's the, this is South America, but it was about rainforests. So we focused on that, kind of a fun.
Something fun for, I think, the little one to play with.
Yeah, so we've got a few pop-up books. They live high up on the shelf because they can't be, in general, just, circulation all the time for danger, but...
Usborne, The Great Animal Search. We have a number of these type of search books, and we've been using these for the last few years in our curriculums as we've been going through the Around the World and then the Ancient Civilizations. Also, we had one that was for prehistoric times as well, so we did that with the prehistory curriculum that we did. These are great. I love these.
These are great, and so we just went ahead and turned to the page on rainforests.
Yeah, I remember Mom said that she was reading this, and the girls were, finding everything in there, and she was just amazed at how quick they were and all this stuff. She just loved this.
It's fun because it's look and find, but there's also a lot of good information given. This spread's about South America, but again, it's about rainforests, so we went with that. And yeah, we'll just pull this up with each biome that we go into to discuss the animals. Speaking of
animals, but make sure you say animals.
Yeah. This is a terrific book from DK Smithsonian.
And we have a couple of these, oceans and animals and history and the exclamation, we call it the exclamation series.
Yeah, so we did this one because we wanted to focus on our biome research on mountain gorillas. So the kids we watched a lot of YouTube videos about gorillas, and they were really interested in kind of understanding about this. So this is one of those just big, beautiful reference books that we can keep around and keep referencing. I think these are great. They're terrific to get whenever they have one of the buy two get one sales at Amazon.
Especially if you're doing
Target.
Yeah, especially if you're doing a biome research, or if you're doing the original curriculum where you're going around and trying to find animals that you have to do some research on. a book like this is just so helpful. I think we referenced this in our spines wrap up from the last time as maybe an alternative spine for you to use, but this is great. I love these books. They're very special to us. I mean, I use them all the time, and they're just great. I love it.
Yeah, we have, I think, animal, ocean, space, dinosaurs, and human body.
Yes.
All very good. So, yeah, you can't go wrong with these books.
Over and Under the Rainforest.
Yeah, this was kind of fun.
Kind of an interesting form factor, too. It's a little bit taller.
Yeah, it's a little skinny, but it's good. It's a really easy, quick read. I think great for this level. I mean, there's not a ton of words per page, and our kids enjoyed it. So yeah, I think it's a good call. There are some other rainforest books that we saved. We're kind of going to split this because we're going to do rainforest again when we do Brazil, and so we wanted to hold a little bit, not do all the rainforest books right yet. Yeah. But yeah, this was our first rainforest biome, and it's exciting.
You guys also did a little bit of art, did kind of a weave, as kind of a traditional art weave.
Yes, there was a video that we watched, and forgive me, I was at work, and then I would come home, and your mom would say, "Hey, this is what I did with the kids." I'm like, "Oh, okay." So this was there was woven mats in one of the countries that we studied, and so yeah, they went through and cut the paper, and then we'll put strips through, and they each made their own little woven placemats. So they were pretty excited about that.
So we outsourced our homeschooling. Overall, what was it like outsourcing all the homeschooling, Miss Ariel?
You know, it was, I mean, I think a little
Normally you outsource it to me, and you know, as the unpaid labor in this family, I do a decent job. But what was it like giving it to somebody else?
You know, it was a little harder for me to trust. You and I have built a lifetime of trust together. But your mom did an absolutely phenomenal job. She was super grandma. She did a great job taking care of them and feeding them and recovering from knee surgery. She was recovering from knee surgery while she was here, which was
leg was up,
extra amazing.
It's great because she could just sit there with her leg up and just read books.
She was reading books. She was engaging them. She did all of their math and reading work and handwriting, and she was amazing.
We got to do more of this now.
But I felt like I had to really, really prep everything and be very, specific about what we needed to do, which I don't usually have to do with you. Yeah. So, but they got up to some fun things, and I took a couple of notes here. And excuse me for looking at my notes. But the kids and Grandma watched Meet the Chimps, which is a show on Nat Geo.
The Nat Geo show.
It doesn't. It's not set in Africa, but it's all about a chimpanzee rescue facility in the U.S. And so just learning a lot about chimps and primates, and they really enjoyed that. Your mom and the kids watched the animated version of Tarzan because they were getting into all the gorillas and stuff, and so they really enjoyed that.
Phil Collins doing his thing there.
Yep, we watched some Black Panther, just, for reality and accuracy. No, because Black Panther's awesome.
Yeah.
I didn't quite get to Wakanda Forever, but if you've got kids who are a little older and can handle the violence, that could be fun.
Yeah.
We didn't get to watch Mighty Joe Young, which is a Disney movie from the 90s, I want to say, about a gorilla. So we didn't get quite to that, but that could be really fun. If I haven't seen it in a long time, so go ahead and check it out on Common Sense Media or something before you watch it. But that was something we had intended to do. And then we did a couple of fun things. We subscribed to Universal Yums. If you've been watching the channel, we subscribed forever to that, and we had a box all about Africa that came, and I had held on to it, and so we did this.
And you waited until I got home.
Yeah, because we waited till the night you got home. It was our last 2 days of Africa. We're like, hey, look, let's do the Yum box. So we did our Yum box all set in Africa, which was really fun. And we did do a couple of food challenges. Our kids weren't super excited about the different recipes that we had found. So your mom decided to lean into prominent ingredients in the area and then make something out of them. So the coastal region was known for lots of sweet potatoes and shrimp. And so she sauteed some shrimp with the girls, and then they mashed sweet potatoes, and we had the shrimp with the sweet potato together, which was really cool. And we talked about how that was something that they would eat and why, because where they would grow it and grow the sweet potatoes and obviously fish for the shrimp. And so that was cool. And then we made a peanut butter mousse from the Republic of the Congo. So that was really fun. I mean, who doesn't love peanut butter mousse? So I'll include that recipe in the show notes below.
Awesome.
So overall, it was a little bit of a different time. If we were doing this on our own, we wouldn't have done Central and West together. We would have done them as separate weeks, and probably would have done different things more in depth. But as it was, we, made the best of the situation and involved grandma. And I think one of the things this shows is just that maybe your family can really surprise you. And I always think of like, oh, I want to get all the homeschool done before we go to grandma's house, because I don't want to burden them with doing the homeschool, which is, we think of as our responsibility.
Yeah.
But your mom had an amazing time. She was great at it. She loved being involved and being a part of their education. So, so this is my plug. Reach out. When you go visit grandma or grandpa or aunt or uncle or whoever, maybe take some homeschool with you, and not just for you to do quietly to get out of the way, but like maybe involve them in it too, because she had a great time.
We've been doing that the last few times when we go over to their house on the weekend. We go, well, we're going to be studying this country, and we always try to watch a movie together as a family. We go, well, can we pick one of these movies that will kickstart our weekend stuff? And they don't know that we're using that time to start it, but they just have a good time.
Right. Yeah, we did that recently, and it worked out really well.
Yeah, and then we had this great experience. So definitely think about homeschooling is obviously different, and it can be different from each family. It can also be different from week to week. So definitely embrace the fun and the changes.
Flexible.
Be flexible. I think we just put out an episode about being flexible in your homeschooling and things of that nature. So, all right, where are we going next?
I think we're heading to Spain.
Oh, Spain. Tapas.
Food. So good.
We'll have to share a bottle of Rioja. That'll be on the adult menu at the end of the evening. We're relaxing from doing all the homeschooling.
That's right.
But we'll see you guys next week when we head out to Spain.